Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Sports Symposium. I'm your host today, Nicholas Manning. You can find me on Twitter at dr_nmanning. I am joined by a special guest. This is Thomas Reed III, my guy. You can find him on Twitter at official_T_Reed, or you can find him on Instagram at, let me make sure I have it right, at Thomas.Reed3. You also can find him in a new and exciting football experience. I'm super stoked to go to the game this weekend.
Yes,
Maybe talk to us a little bit about what you got going on.
yeah. I'm Thomas Reed. I'll be playing for the Colorado Spartans in the National Arena League this season. We're a new expansion team from the National Arena League. We have our first preseason game here at Blue Arena in Loveland this Sunday at 7 p.m. So we're selling tickets. We got promo codes and all of that stuff for the game, and we're excited just to suit up again and play, but to give the fans a good experience.
I'm super pumped to be there. Maybe give us, if assume that people watching this have never watched an arena game in their life. What's unique about the arena game, and is there anything within this league that may differ from from other leagues? Any rules that would be exciting for people to know about? That kind of stuff. Break it down for us a little bit about what to expect when we show up for a Spartans game.
Yeah, so first off, from a player's perspective, I mean, the game is a lot faster, just because you're playing on a 50-yard field, about 35 yards. So it's not a 100-yard field and nothing like that. You're playing inside 50 yards. Everything's fast paced. There's a little mixture of like NFL and CFL put together. So the CFL, how the receivers get a running start to the line of scrimmage. Arena has the same thing. Instead of 11 guys on the field, now you have 8. So from that perspective, it's definitely a game changer. It takes a lot to learn, like obviously scheme wise, technique wise. It's a lot for the guys that are here that haven't played arena before. We're learning it as we go, kind of thing. But from a fan's perspective, I mean, it's going to be high flying players flying over the wall, catching passes right into your lap, kind of thing. I mean, the fan interaction aspect of it is it's enormous. It's way bigger than just being at like an NFL game. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to obviously play football, have fun, but give the fans an experience that they never had before.
Dope. I'm super excited. So I never caught a Crush game. So Crush, the Colorado Crush actually won an Arena League bowl game. The Arena Bowl. However, I remember when we had the Denver Gold, and so it was yesterday. That was my first sports. That was my first sports experience. Loved it. It was super exciting. So I'm excited for what you got going on. My question for you, because you have you played big time college football, and I know that within the outdoor leagues that you've played in, and then you've done fan controlled. What are some of the differences that make it such a hard transition to go from 11-on-11 outside game to arena league just like this?
Well, one of the things is even just the simple fact of alignment, and obviously, in any game of football, alignment, assignment, technique is one of the biggest things that you have to, you know, I guess, get done or like kind of implement in the game. In arena football, there is no, for me as a defensive end, there is no lining up in a 9 technique or anything like that. Like my hand has to be kind of on his foot, is lined up with his outside foot. So the pass rush lanes are a little shorter. The I guess the pad levels of like where you have to play and how you have to get to your pointer faster as a Mike linebacker. They call that a Mac or a Jack, or there's a couple different nicknames for it. But they have to let the defense know if they're blitzing, if they're not blitzing. The coverages are different a little bit just because the field is smaller, so people have to rotate over to a certain spot at a certain point. And obviously, with the receivers getting a running head start, the DBs have to get to a certain point. One of the biggest things is that they have the field goal posts, but on the outside of the field goal post, there's actually nets. So if they kick a field goal, or if somebody, on a kickoff and that ball hits that net, the ball is live. It's 100% live. So there is no touchbacks or anything like that, like it is in the NFL where they catch it and take. Now, as soon as that ball hits that net and that ball's kicked off, dudes are flying down the field. By the time you catch the ball, they're already in your face because the field is really hard. So it's little things like that that you got to really adjust to.
Right. What are you looking forward to the most? So your first opportunity at expansion team, the inaugural opportunity for this group to get together and do something we haven't had in this area in a bit. What are you looking forward to? Maybe what are some of the things that your teammates talk about? What do you think is like kind of the most exciting thing about shooting up on Sunday?
I'll probably say the most exciting part is just giving the fans a show, making sure that the fans are heavily involved in this and allowing them to kind of see that, you know, arena football is back in Colorado. I mean, I grew up watching arena football in New York, the New York Dragons. Um, but the kind of from hearing what everybody was talking about since I've been out here about the Colorado Crush and seeing the jerseys that people still wear to this day, it still sticks to them, to their culture of sports in the state of Colorado, from which is big. So I'm excited to kind of be a part of that journey with the fans and give them the show that they came to see.
Well, what do you have? What's the preview? What can you tell me? Tell me who we're playing. Tell me what you know about them.
So we're playing Noco Nightmare. It's another team that's in the Fort Collins area for our preseason game this Sunday. And from what I know, they have talented players, but somebody has to come out on top at the end of the day, and that's going to be us. So.
That's right. That's right. What? So how many games do we got in the season?
So we have one preseason game, and then we have 12 games in total. We have 13, six home and 6 away games. Sorry, I had to do the math for a second. 6 home and 6 away. And then
they told me there would be no math. So give me some examples. Where is this league? Where are some of the cities located? What other teams or regions are you playing in? Kind of give us the landscape of what's going
on. We have a couple different teams in different areas. We have one team, I believe, in Idaho. Idaho Horsemen. We had a team in Kansas, team in Texas. Our furthest game, I believe, that we have on the East Coast is in North Carolina, the Carolina Cobras. So the expansion of the league itself is even growing, but we still have a good amount of talent in the teams in the league.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What so maybe if you can give me a little bit of just what as a defensive lineman, defensive end, especially kind of in arena league, what's some of your responsibilities? What does it look like? Is anything different than what you would look at for for traditional 11 on 11? Because you've also played in some other arena leagues. What previous experience, all that stuff. What are some of the things that you have to be really sound on to be successful? Because the ball comes out quicker, right? Like you said, it's a shorter path to the quarterback, which makes it maybe a little bit easier for the lineman to be able to set because, maybe less of a concern if you get into the inside shoulder because it's so condensed. Maybe tell me some of the things that you've noticed in this transition to this style of game, and then what are some things that you do to help give you the best opportunity to get sacks, because that's what it's about, right? Get the sacks.
Yeah, gotta get to the quarterback. That's the money maker. Yeah, I would definitely say your eye discipline is going to be the biggest key from jumping from outdoor to indoor. I mean, obviously, in outdoor, you still need your eye discipline. You still need to know your responsibilities and your pre-snap reads and keys and things like that. But when you are making that adjustment into arena football, you really need eye discipline because there's so many guys with high speeds that are moving on the field and everything's happening so quick that if you do not catch it, it can literally destroy you in a matter of seconds. And like I said, that net that's in the back of the end zone, that ball is live. So even if you don't put your eyes in the right spot, or if there's a flag, there's a chance the quarterback is just launching that and, Hail Mary, all hell goes, that kind of thing, and hoping for a touchdown. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. It's a big adjustment, like for a defensive end, I might have a receiver that might crack down on me and I might not see it if I don't pay attention to the motioning man, things like that. So it's a lot of eye discipline.
Yeah. I mean, how is communication in the indoor game? I mean, it's because of the condensed atmosphere, right? You're playing inside for one. Two, fans are probably a little closer, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe the sound travels a little bit different. On defense, because communication is going to be key, like you said, right? Catching a crackback or maybe not seeing someone pull, etc. How do you make sure that the communication gets there? Are there challenges that you anticipate? Kind of give me the idea of what it's like in middle of a play, making or getting ready for a play to start, and making sure that everyone on the field is on the same page.
I mean, calls is going to be the biggest things that's going to be important. When you're looking at your D coordinator or you're getting your call from your backers or your DBs or something like that or whoever. Um, and understanding that, making sure that you guys have calls and communications and sign language in a way is going to be
Mm-hmm.
crucial. And that's the way that you make sure that everybody's on the same page. Because, like I said, if what it's already you do your 1 of 11 on an outdoor field, but
Right,
one of
right.
8 makes it even harder because
Yep.
things can go really south. So we got to make sure that the communication levels are on tip top shape, and so we come up with signals if to make sure that you heard it. If you didn't hear it, we relay the message down the line or relay the message from front to back, whatever we got to do.
Yep. And then what's a base defensive alignment look like with 8-man and especially kind of in the arena league? How, for the most part, how do you set up, or what do what's a base, and then what do you transition to? What does that kind of look like for fans to watch for?
So in an arena, you have 3 down linemen. It's always going to be 3 down linemen. You have your basic 2 ends, and then you have a nose. And then you have, like I said, you have a 1 backer who's going to be your Mac, Jack, whatever they call them. Every team and everybody has their own verbiage. But that's pretty much like the stack of the box. And then when it comes to coverages and DB positionings and things like that, everybody's alignment and assignment will be different that we play, or even ours, depending on schemes and stuff. So that's just kind of the basis of it. It's very straightforward. 3-man down, 1 jack in the box, and that's it.
That's it. And then essentially then you're using rotations and different things to be able to disguise what you're running or what you're trying to show the quarterback. But I assume then the jack's got to be someone that can play backwards and can play going downhill, right? You probably can't have the old thumper sitting there that can't turn and go when the game's played behind him a little bit.
Yeah, we have like you could throw a safety at the jack. You could throw an outside linebacker or DN at jack. You could even, there's so much versatility. You could have a true linebacker at jack. I mean, there's 1,000 different routes you can go with it.
Nice. What tell me that you know what you're gonna do if and when you score a touchdown, Thomas. I have to know. Do you got the dance already? Or if you get that first sack, do you got that unlocked yet? What's
gonna
be the Thomas Reed sack dance? I gotta know.
I know, man. I've been thinking about it because I was thinking in my head, like, in college you can't do any of that stuff, and it's been a while. So I was like, man, I got to come up with something. I haven't figured it out yet.
All right, well, you will hear me at the game if you don't come with it. If you get a sack, you make a play. I don't care what it is. I better see something. Well, if anyone has suggestions, go ahead and throw it in the chat here, and then maybe it'll help Thomas out.
I need some creative ideas.
I need some creative ideas. Yeah, like you said, man, it's been a while since you've been able to utilize the the non-collegiate respect for the game kind of excitement. So that'll be super dope. As we kind of look into this this season for you, what are your expectations? And I know it's always win every game and all that stuff. Because this is a new team, right? From the creation to the players, at least playing together. How do you feel about this upcoming season? What are some of the goals that maybe you or the coaches have set out? What, as a brand new franchise, what are some of the things that the team is trying to identify to make sure that this season is as successful as possible? And what does that look like for guys in that locker room? What's kind of the vibe in there? What are we hoping for this season?
I'd definitely say we hope for, just good chemistry. So far, our chemistry is on point. Our communication's on point. How well we clicked since day one. I mean, from the moment we all walked in here for training camp, a lot of us, we introduced ourselves, found out we had a lot of mutual friends and a lot of mutual people. And then we just been hanging out, kicking it ever since. And the bond that we have as a collective team has been pretty strong. So that's one of the biggest key components that, fans are going to be able to see the difference in that bonding that we have as a unit and as a team. But our biggest thing is also just to give the city and the fans, an appreciation or a welcome to basically allowing us to come back with arena football and be in this in this city. That's going to be very important. We want to make sure that everybody has fun, everybody has a memory to live for with this, and the same way we still talk about, or you guys talk about, the Colorado Crush to this day. We want to be able to live that and continue it on from a very long point moving forward. My personal goals and everything. I just want to be able to execute and give the kids that I mentor, because as you know, I give out scholarships. I mentor a lot of kids, try to make a change in the community since I've been out here in Colorado. I want to be able to give them a show and to be able to kind of give them that, everything that you guys are going through and everything I put them through. I'm walking those same shoes with you, and I'm just doing it on a different level. And I want to be able to have fun with them and have those memories with those kids and kind of just find my way to the next level.
I love it. Well, you, King of Transition, just helped kind of segue that. So you and I have chatted before. You gave me a great opportunity to chat with you and utilize your experience in sharing that in an article that I wrote a while ago, and then joined us for some pod time. So I know a little bit about you. I know what kind of guy you are and some of the things that you've done around the community. However, let's get to know you a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you some questions for our audience, because not everyone has been with us the whole time, so they might not know you yet. So we're going to go ahead and give a crash course here. So tell me a little bit about your college experience. Where'd you go? How did that go? Tell me all of the stuff. Your collegiate football experience. Give us some insight where you were, what you played, how'd it go, favorite moments, all that kind of stuff. I'll prod as we move forward, but give us a little bit of your collegiate days.
Yeah, no problem. So I started my college career at Lackawanna College, which is in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I did a semester of college there. I ended up leaving due to some family issues at the time. So I ended up going back to Nassau Community College in New York, which is back home from where I'm from. Finished out my freshman season there, and then I ended up transferring again. Went to ASA College in Brooklyn, back home, and finished out my sophomore year. And then I ended up going through the recruiting process out of JUCO. Had a couple different scholarship offers to different schools, but my dad was dealing with a health issue at the time, and it was better off for me to go to school in Colorado. So I forgot all my scholarships, and even given those scholarships that I had, I was having those coaches offer my teammates so they can go to college, because I knew I wasn't going to go there. So so then I reached out to every school in the state of Colorado. I was trying to reach out to, School of Mines, Pueblo, Mesa, every school out here. And sure enough, the last school to take a chance on me, thank God, was Adams State. It was Coach Kai Ellis who offered me and recruited me with Coach Josh Blankenship at the time. And I finished out my last 2 years here at Adams State. Had a great time. It was definitely a culture shock, going from high life city in New York to Alamosa, middle of nowhere. College takes up the whole town, things like that. But I definitely have fun out there. There's a lot of memories that I had out there. I mean, from, chilling on campus with my teammates to even some of the games that I played in when we went to South Dakota, and blizzard games and snow games. And, when we played at CSU Pueblo, and my parents actually flew out for one of my first college games out here in Colorado. So that was when I played against Black Hills State. So things like that is just memories that I will never forget. And I truly appreciate, Colorado and Adams State for even taking that chance. And this is where my career is here now.
Yeah. So that, one, I know that you're from New York, just the way that you say New York. It's a pretty dead giveaway. Like you say it like it's supposed to be said. So I can, you can separate that from us Colorado folks, our bland accents, that's for sure. Maybe tell me a little bit about the culture shock, man. It's and how, because kids all across the country, right? They get recruited to areas that they've never been, in like regions they've never been, right? There's famously, I believe, Jerry Jeudy, when he got drafted by the Broncos, had never seen snow, right? And so what's that like when you go from, right? You go from Brooklyn, fast pace, busy people, to Alamosa, not those things, right? So what is that? I mean, what's that like? Because that's got to be hard on a kid as you're trying to put your best foot forward with your coaches, right? Prove them right for giving you an opportunity. I know you felt that pressure. You obviously had, you had the struggles with home stuff and parental health. So there's all that you're carrying. Move across country, place that you probably haven't been very much.
Never been.
To play for a team that you only know a little bit about, because it wasn't, your trying to get out here for a reason, right? Not necessarily that. So you have a different vision in mind, and then you got to play football and do schoolwork, right? Like you got all of this stuff for a student. What's that like? What's it like what was it like for you, and maybe even some of the advice that you've given to the kids that you're mentoring about what their life experience could be like, especially if they're going to go through the college recruiting process. What was your experience like, and then kind of what would you tell kids to prepare for as they look into that? That's a pretty big challenge and huge transition for 17, 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah, so I deal with it on a day-to-day basis, like helping these kids and all of that stuff like that with this. But my biggest thing was understanding my purpose and my why. I had obviously the
Love
picture
it.
of the reason why I did it was a lot bigger than just football. I mean, you could play football anywhere. Obviously, you got to find out coaching staff and schemes and where you fit and where you don't fit and
Mm-hmm.
where they recruit. You got to figure all of that out, and that's
Yeah.
good and all. But the dynamic of just leaving period is always going to be hard. It's just about figuring out what the purpose is, and you got to start planning things ahead, like in a bigger picture, 5 to 10, 15-year span, things like that. So that was the biggest step for me. Once I was able to kind of adjust to, like I said, the culture shock of not being able to walk down the street and go to the store the way I was back at home, or have the kind of foods and the cultures. And I remember like going to Walmart and I seen them roasting, the peppers at the Walmart, and I'm thinking that maybe they selling ribs or something going on like they would back at home, but they're talking about green chili. Never heard of green chili until I came out here. So it's the things like that I was more excited, and I was just more appreciative of like life outside of my norm. Even though I'm so used to diversity, this was a complete realm of like
Yep.
a life that I've never seen. So it made me appreciate the experience more and kind of go through the process of like, all right, I got to see another side of the world and another side of the country that I've never been to. So when you kind of go through that process, you have to go to class no matter where you go. You have to play football. You got to go to practice. You got to go to weights and film and all of that stuff, no matter where you're at. You might as well just make the journey well worth it when you realize that there's an opportunity somebody's willing to give you outside of your normal, out of your normal realm. So I would definitely say that that's one of the biggest things that I tell my kids is just appreciate life outside of your norm.
I love it. It's not many times that you get an opportunity to go and experience the world differently than what you're used to. And I think for some people, excitement and anxiety are essentially like the same emotion,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's nervousness and it's questionable outcomes. I don't know how things are going to go. So you feel energized, and it could, it's either a positive, exciting feeling or it's negative, but it's all in the same kind of spectrum. And so really, you being able to choose, or you actively choosing excitement, right? Positive outlook takes that and skews it away from anxiety and towards excitement, right? You were able to look at it in a way that gave you an appreciation for the opportunity to do that. Even though I have no doubt there were some challenges, and I know Alamosa, there's some things that probably weren't great, but being able to utilize that perspective, I think one helps you gain some internal data about how the world works. Right? It's
Yeah.
nice to have. You don't know that really. You can read it in a book sometimes, but going there and living it a little bit gives you a little bit more of an appreciation for how things can be done. It also broadens your scope, right, and then gives you some experience that you're able to utilize later, which I think is fantastic. So
Yeah.
then you graduate college.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were going through the pro day circuit and doing some of that kind of stuff. COVID hits, the
Yeah.
whole the whole nine, which is just rough. So I know that you've had some professional opportunities. I know that you've been coaching. I know
Mm-hmm.
that you've been mentoring. I know that you've been doing those things. So you got a lot going on. Give us some of the player history. So graduate college, what leagues have you played in? What teams, all that kind of stuff. Give us a little bit of background about where you've been and what the playing career has looked like so far for you.
Yeah, so I had my pro day at CSU Pueblo right before COVID. I worked out for the Broncos, the Jets, 49ers, Saints at my pro day. And I had a decent pro day. I mean, my numbers were good until, I had a tweaked hamstring right in the middle of my 40, which was not
Of
ideal.
course.
Um, but, I finished it off strong and did what I was able to. COVID hit, and it kind of took a turn. I had my hopes up. I was praying for the opportunity. Obviously, it never came. So I stayed trained. I stayed out here. Was training. Never went back home. I stayed training out here. In 2021, I believe when Wade Phillips was with the Rams, he ended up showing up to the fan control football workout. And this is before their first season even started. They had a private workout, and he ended up showing up to that tryout. And he pulled me aside, pinched my stomach, made a little jokes, trying to see how fat I was and all of that stuff, if I was in shape and all of that. So, but all jokes aside, he told me I looked good. He liked how I performed. And then Coach John Jenkins, who is a legend in the coaching world, he's coached in the CFL, he was a head coach for the Fan Control Football League at the time. He was super excited to bring me on. Things happen with people that you think you can trust sometimes. In 2021 didn't come around, so 2022 rolls around. Coach Jenkins reaches back out to me and gives me another opportunity to play. So I go out there. I got assigned to the Fan Control League again in 2022, and I ended up having a season-ending injury. So that kind of had a little setback as well. And then within the last year and a half to 2 years, I've just been trying to focus on making the change in the community, change for the kids, make an impact, but still pursue, playing again till someday. And sure enough, this is where we're at now, playing for the Colorado Spartans, hopefully still looking to get an opportunity for the, NFL, CFL, practice squad, anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you are one. I appreciate the dedication to your passion.
Thank you.
I don't think people understand how hard that when you have a dream, right? And your vision for your dream is outside the scope of mine. I'm 5'8". I was an all-conference player in high school. I had opportunities to play in college, but there was going to be a limit to what I was going to be able to do, no doubt. So I know that my stipulations. I've worked out next to David Bruton at my local gym. Nope, we're not the same. We're not the same. I don't have what you guys got. Like, I saw you cleaning. I saw what you cleaned. Nope, Nick ain't doing that. So I am humble, and I understand there's a limitation to that. So your dream is outside the scope of some of my dreams. That said, to have that there and all of the challenges that it takes to be able to realize it or put yourself in a position even to meet Wade Phillips, to be able to do some of those things, I think I know that I appreciate, and I hope that other people, and especially when they're watching athletes, as fans, it gets pretty easy to rag on a guy or to treat him as though he's a commodity or a player just because we don't know them. In the end, right? Like you're a human being going through, sick parents, going across country, getting opportunity to get pro day, COVID hits, like, oh crap, all that stuff that kept getting in your way. And the fact that not only are you still pursuing it, you have utilized your time to positively impact the kids' lives of a community that you didn't grow up in, right? And so, one, I think that just speaks volumes about the kind of person that you are and what you're about. You didn't waste your time pouting. I'm going to stay ready, and while I have time, I'm going to. And I want to be able to say that for folks to be able to hear that, because I don't think that people take the time to realize that people in your position, you do some really cool stuff, and I don't think people sometimes want to know or care or have the capacity or the availability of that information. So you just treat athletes like entertainers or whatever that might be, when in reality you're striving for excellence while also doing some really, really good work. So I think, one, I want to give you some flowers while I can, right? You've been doing some cool stuff. And then also kind of go through maybe the season-ending injury, because I think that that's one of the things that I also don't know if as fans we realize just how difficult that is when you spent all the off-season training, right? You're getting into it, you're doing all the stuff, and how exciting that is to get an opportunity to go compete, put on good film, right? A step towards whatever that might be, just win, all of the things that we love sports for. And then all of a sudden it's like that, and how devastating that can be, and the challenge that it takes to get motivated get right again, right? The guys go through depression stages because of how you identify as an athlete and that you can't do the thing that you love. And that's kind of attached to who you've been your entire life. All of those challenges. Maybe talk about that a little bit. So like what, Juan, how, how did you, how'd you address, rehab? What did you do to kind of get your mind right to get yourself back in a position to train again and take advantage of this opportunity that's in front of you? So what are some of the things that you did to help get yourself right after such a kind of tragic event?
I mean, I've dealt with tragic, like life changing, on and off the field experiences in my life before. So when a lot of people think when you have a season-ending injury, in high school and in college, like those are points of your life when you have choices for your career to end.
Mhm.
You have the option to walk away from that, be like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, or something like that. And when you get to a certain point of like you pursue everything through 100%, you pursue it through. When you get to this point and this level of being a pro athlete or being at the stage where it's already cutthroat business as is, it's very difficult to know that you did everything you can and something so small like a injury can literally just ruin everything. And there is no coming back from this. A lot of people, if you get hurt in college, you have your medical redshirt year. You have your redshirt season. You could always transfer. Like there's always opportunities for things like that to happen. When it comes to the pro life, it doesn't work like that. This game could be taken from you immediately, and there is no turning back from it. You just have to accept it. It's a tough pill to swallow. So I fought through adversity pretty much my entire life, and I got into the point where I've gotten so used to it that it's surprising when something good happens. So and it's I know it sounds sad and something bad to say, but it's God's honest truth with all of the adversity and pain I've been through. So I just when I found out it was a season-ending injury, I put my faith in God, and even though I was still doing that, I still cried. And I can't lie about it. I cried. I was like, I don't know if this is it. I don't know if I could ever do it again. I've had conversations with my mother and my father about it. I panicked. And that was the first time ever in my life. Like, I was like, I really don't know what to do. Like, I felt like I had no answers. I didn't know what to do. I just tried to leave my faith in God, but I was even panicking with that. Like, I was so unsure about everything.
Sure.
But I just kind of once they were like, all right, this is what the game plan is, this is what it was. And it was somebody who I know I could trust that had the option, that's dealt with people who are in my situation. I said, all right, you know what? I can't really, no matter how I feel about it, I got to put my emotions aside, think logically, get done what needs to get done, and do the research. Research is one of the most important things because your body's your money, obviously, at this point. So you really have to understand what risks you're taking by doing every little thing that you do, from supplements to certain kind of rehab to certain doctors you work with. Like everything like that is important. So once he gave me the breakdown and was like, this is how we're going to attack, rehab, I went in there like it was game day every day. I went in there angry, but I was so fired up. Like I have to do this again. Like there's no turning back. I have to do this again. I want to be able to try to dictate when I walk away, at least have that option to do that the
Yep.
same way I did when I was in college and high school. I don't want this to be the way I'm gonna end my career and have to live with this for the rest of my life. So I thank God that, I had the perseverance and the adversity. And like I said, for me to be humble, and I had to humble myself and realize that there are other people who are following my footsteps. That's why I try to make the change for these kids the way I do, because I don't ever want any of these kids to walk down the path that I went through. I mean, I wouldn't wish that pain upon my worst enemy. So it was, long story short, it was definitely a mental challenge. It was definitely a lot of adversity that I had to fight through. But, hopefully people could understand where I'm coming from with that.
And so with that, right? So, uh, God forbid, a young athlete who's watching this has an injury, right?
Mhm.
Setback. It's pretty devastating, even if it's, if it's season ending, if you've never, you're a high school kid and you've never really been injured before, and just how shocking it can be to, if you have a significant injury, you're going to miss time, you don't know, like all of the uneasiness that comes. So
Mhm.
I loved what you talked about rehab, but maybe just kind of continuing that, what advice would you give? So if I'm getting mentored by you, game two, I got a season-ending injury, and I was getting recruited for the first time, and I'm pretty, now it's uncertain about whether or not I'm going to have opportunities to go play at the next level. From your experience, it's not only your experience working with kids, but your personal experience with what it takes to put yourself in that position and going through it. What would be some things that you tell a kid to maybe help guide them through a really challenging time?
I tell all my kids, appreciate adversity. You have to learn how to appreciate it. I mean, this is just a stepping stone, and there's always tomorrow. Today might be set in stone, but once these 24 hours pass, you're going to have another 24 hours. And even though it might not be guaranteed, if you do have those 24 hours, make it worth it. It's one of those things. I've dealt with it before where I've had a kid who, has dealt with an injury, and he's kind of in that crossroads of like, I don't know if I'm going to get recruited. No coaches are looking at me now. And I mean, there's always options, especially with medicine the way it is. And that's why I tell them you have to do the research. Like, research is one of the most important things. Like, the way I went through the NCAA recruiting process for myself, I had to figure it out for myself. My parents didn't help me with that. And it's not that they chose not to. It's just that my parents didn't know any better. I was the first college graduate in my family, let alone graduated with 7 degrees, 2 bachelors and 5 minors. So things like that, it was just one of those things I had to make happen for myself. And I just had to appreciate every second and realize that every second, every minute of every day is going to be crucial. It's a make or break for me. And I tell my kids the same thing. You have to understand that if you're going through, an injury, it doesn't suck, but it's happening for a reason. You're going to learn from it, pay attention to what's being taught, do the research on your own outside of what you're dealing with. And at the end of the day, I'm in your corner. You know what I'm saying? All my kids, they could tell you I'm in their corner. I give every medical team, every resource that I have, I give to them as if they're pros. I treat my players as if they're pros. I don't treat them as their high school kids, because that's not going to do anything for them. I want them to carry themselves and reach a better pedestal than what I've hit. So that's the way I carry it.
I love it. So I think the thing that you hit, and so whether or not people are religious, I think that there is something to be said about, there's kind of the saying, right, that there's nothing in front of you that God hasn't prepared you for, kind of thing. And whether or not you're religious or not, so I'm not um, not really advocating that part, but you have been through stuff, and most of the time we've been through stuff that's been harder than what we're in right now. We just forget because we're in it, right? It's like you said, right? Your injury, that's pretty devastating for where you were at the time that you were there. And then when you're able to kind of let yourself get regulated again, you remembered that you've already been through and you've came out on top for things that really probably were more out of your control, right? There are things that are happening, whether it's family, it's fine, it's all of that kind of stuff, things that you didn't have control over that you were able to get through. Now it's an injury that happened to you, but you can dictate a ton of your rehab, like you said, your research, right? Like a lot of those things, and utilizing some of your fortitude that you've used to get through some more difficult or more complex stuff to kind of address and get through an injury. And I really loved I'm going to attack it, right? Like it's game day. I think that kind of mentality, especially for younger athletes, is tremendous because it doesn't go away, right? If you gear yourself and your mindset to kind of attack the next practice or the next workout or the next to a training mindset versus a workout or a doing, you really see differences in how you perform, how you prepare, right? How you focus, all of those things because of that switch and being able to say, hey, I'm like, this workout's going to have a problem today, right? Like I'm going to be
Yeah.
that problem
Yeah.
versus like, oh, I got to go do it again. Like I got to
Yeah.
go do it.
And
And
I would say that's one of the biggest things too, is that when you attack, you have to attack it with intention.
right, intention,
There's
100%.
that's one of the biggest crucial things that I do. Like, even in a lot of my movements now, I attack it with intention. I try to understand and feel the little things in my body and be socially aware or mentally aware of what's going on with my body. Attack it with intention, because you can go hard and do everything, but if you just go hard and then not care about what you're doing outside of that or after that, you clock in for that 1 hour and then for the next 23, you just don't care. Like, that's when things start to happen. So again, like I said, every minute matters, and you got to attack it with intention. I mean, I attack everything with intention.
Love it.
Detail is very crucial.
Yeah, and really emphasizing the intention part, right? I heard this quote a long time ago, and it's like, if you're at the office and you're a leader, and you aren't acting with intention, you're just playing office, right? You're not leading. You're
Hmm.
just you're playing how like you're a sim versus there, and so having intention to be able to do it, one guides strategic action, but two, right? Like you're giving yourself an opportunity to grow and excel. So I love it, man. I could talk about this stuff with you all day. However, someone hopped in with a question, so we're going to
Yes.
transition back to Spartans football.
Okay.
We got Trayvon is asking, "How's the team looking, bro?"
We're looking good, man. The offense is clicking, getting pieces together. The coaching staff, Coach Shaw, Coach Tay Brooks, those two are 1-2 punch combo. Like just the mentality that they both have and how well they mesh on both sides of the ball, and it's implemented straight to the players. And I mean, I think they did a great job of coming up with a staff and coming up with a roster. Because now that they clicked, I mean, the offense and defense, and even just the talent in the locker room clicked. I think we're looking really good, and I'm excited for Sunday.
Nice. What are some? I show up Sunday. What are some names of some of your teammates? And obviously, you can't name. I mean, you could name all of them if you're Russell Wilson, but you don't have to. Just to maybe give me like hey, you know what? Here's some of the guys that I think will flash. Not subject to only, but what are some of the names that we should be aware of when we show up on Sunday?
We got. I mean, I don't want to. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Um, I mean, we have so many pieces. It's kind of hard to even just give a couple because everybody's so versatile and you like utilized in so many different ways. Like everybody is a gadget in some kind of way. We have like
Love
some
it.
speed receivers. We have some Brandon Marshall like receiver. We have our defensive stack. We have. I don't want to throw me in there and sound arrogant, and I gotta exclude myself, but we have a guy I played with.
You can put you in there. Come on now. We know what's up. We know
I
what's
have, a,
up.
I have a guy that I played with in the FCF. He's playing with me. He's a safety hybrid now. There's just so many pieces that we have now.
Good.
You'll see how everybody's like literally utilizing different pieces, and
Yeah.
when you get to know the roster and you see like, oh, okay, quarterback is for this, and the D line is versatile here. We have this guy here. We have some NFL vets in the game too. We have a lot of guys. We have a couple guys who have either NFL experience in rookie mini camps, rosters, workouts. Myself, we have two
Yeah.
D linemen, 3D linemen who's experienced in the NFL. One guy, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish on offense alone have like pro days. So we have a lot of guys with talent across the board, like in every way.
Nice. Well, I'm excited. Another question for you because I'm bringing my kids, bringing 3 out of the 4. My 4-year-old, she's great. It's gonna be a handful, but are my kids gonna get to meet you and some players?
Yeah, so one of the things
Nice.
that we actually have for fan game interaction as well is we have a company called Starlight Customs that's based out of Denver, and they're actually making player trading cards
Oh, dope.
um, for all of the players. So they will be
Nice.
sold at the games and stuff like that. They'll have different packs, they'll have different players, and you can kind of just pick and part which ones you want to buy. And then at the end of the game, if you want to meet, the players and stuff at the tunnel or something like that, we do autograph signings and
That's
things.
dope.
So it's like I said, it's very fan interactive. We want to be able to show appreciation to
Cool.
Greeley, Fort Collins, Loveland, Colorado, period. Just appreciation for allowing us to play in their state.
I love it, man. Well, I'm excited. I look forward to it. I'm excited to watch you play, and knowing you for a little while, watching and having an opportunity to see your boots on the ground. And I know that you've earned the opportunity. We talked about it a little bit today, and looking forward to. What are you looking forward to most, just individually? The game gets started. We're about to kick off. What are you looking forward to most? Because there's been a buildup for you and being able to get to today. What feeling do you expect, or what are you looking forward to most when you suit up on Sunday?
Just appreciation to God and to be able to do this again. Like I said, every day doing this is not guaranteed, especially at this level. So I just got to show appreciation. Appreciate that I was blessed enough to even get to this point. I might cry, not gonna lie. I might just be in the locker room and cry for a second, let it all out, and then just flip that switch and it's go time. And at that point, just go out there, get done what needs to get done, stay focused, pay attention to detail the same way I have been. That got me to this point, and just be ready for business. Just be ready to hit and stay for business.
Great. What number are you? So I know when we go out there.
As of right now, I'm rocking number 55.
Nice.
So
Double
I'll be
nickel.
DN. I'll be playing DN and might be playing a little linebacker too. So
All right. Love it. And then the Colorado Spartans win this game if what?
Colorado Spartans win this game if we just execute. I mean, that's the best way to do it. We all stay disciplined and we all execute. I mean, that's the presence of any football game, no matter what level you at. So as long as we do that, like I said, with the chemistry we got, we're good to go.
Feel pretty good about it. What? Thomas Reed has a big game if
I have a big game if I don't psych myself out. If I don't psych myself out and I stay aware of what's going on and just stay in the game and not overthink things like I have done in my old past. I mean, I've done the work to fix that problem, but I think right now I'm good to go.
Nice. So you stay composed. You're gonna ball out.
Yes.
Love it. 100%. Love it. All right. What other lasting things do you want to share with our group? Anything else that you got going on? I know that you're Mr. Worldwide. You got stuff that you're doing. I know you were doing clothing stuff too. Like you are Renaissance man. I am impressed.
Appreciate it, man.
As someone that has my toe in a lot of stuff, you're doing great, man. What are some of the things that you would like the audience to know? What do you got working on? Where can they find stuff? All that good things.
Yeah, so I partnered with a company called millions.co. If you go to their website, millions.co, if you type in my name, they sponsor professional athletes across the world, from MMA fighters, professional football players, NFL, so on. They actually have my brand, which is what I'm wearing now. If you guys want to just go check that out, I got joggers, hats, hoodies, t-shirts, all of that stuff like that. I mean, it'll be kind of dope for a fan or somebody to show some love and wear it to the game. That'd be great one day. Shout out to the Bear Blends, the Colorado Spartans, like I said, for giving me the opportunity to suit up again. And hopefully, with the film that I put out, or even an opportunity as a long snapper, special teams, whatever the case may be, I'll be able to, play for any NFL team, any CFL team if they give me the opportunity. This upcoming, I believe this upcoming July, this June or July, I'm actually planning on hosting my own football camp. I have one camp based out of Colorado, and then one is going to be based out of New York, obviously in the two states that I live in and I'm from. So basically, I'm going to get a couple of the Bronco players, guys that I'm friends with, former NFL players, current NFL players, USFL, XFL. They're going to come and host the camp. And I just basically want to give all of the kids a chance to learn from all of the vets, and have that opportunity of appreciation for life and what the game could present. And then starting in August, I will be kind of going through the next round of my scholarship. So I have a scholarship called the Thomas Reed III Senior Scholarship. I give $1,000 to a kid who is looking to go to college, who's having trouble with the college recruiting process. Once I, officially make him a recipient, I help him with the college recruiting process, help set up college visits, teach him what the NCAA is about, him and the family, because obviously the family is one of the most crucial parts of that, making sure that they know how to talk to coaches, what coaches look for. And then whenever that kid decides to commit, I'll be sending that check to that school. So I'll be sending out the requirements for that around July or August.
Love it. Like I said, he's Mr. Worldwide, doing something all over the place. How you find the time for it? People ask me that because I got 4 kids who do a whole bunch of activities, a couple jobs doing the whole thing. You got stuff. One, mark me down for your camp. My kids are going to be there. I'll bring some. I'm super excited, not only about your football knowledge, but how you treat kids. And I think, there's some camps that people can go to, and an athlete maybe like pops in, waves and jets. And then there are camps that really are there to improve the experience for kids. And you probably know this as much as anybody, right? The experiences that kids have at this time in their life with sports maybe make or break on whether or not they pursue it or they enjoy it, right? If you can give kids a positive experience
Very true.
For a game that's super hard, right? I mean, it is not for the faint of heart. I don't care what level it's in. It's real life gladiator stuff. And if you can have someone help you or give you a positive experience that you feel cared about, that all of that kind of thing, it's night and day. And I think we've all had those coaches where they almost dimmed our light. And then we've had other coaches who kept us in it, right? That they made the game enjoyable again. So I know that you'll deliver that. So I'll be there. I'm going to pump out as much info and sharing it all over the place, because I have no doubt your camp will be well done. So I appreciate your time, ma'am. I know it's time for us to wrap it up. Any last thoughts you want to share with our audience before we bounce?
Nah, like, I appreciate you having me on the show. As always, man, it's always love on my end for you and your family. I appreciate the fans for even listening to my journey, my story. I hope to see you guys this Sunday and for the rest of the season. I hope you guys follow me for the rest of my career until it's time for me to hang it up. Please go support the brand. Just follow me on Instagram, thomas.reed, with REED with the number 3, or follow me on Twitter, official_TReed.
Love it. For my man Thomas, I'm Doc. We are signing out. Join us again next week, 2:30 live, YouTube, X, all the places you could find it. We appreciate you. Head out to support the Colorado Spartans on Sunday. I'll be there. It'll be really dope. Until next week.
Blue Arena.
Peace out.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flame mouth. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a minute, work hard for the car, so that's why it's all tinted.